In 2026, if you still are using Excel sheets to analyze your Amazon PPC, you need to get away from it because I've built a free tool that lets you do all of this within 1 second. And that tool is even faster than Claude and ChatGPT. And we're going to see how we can utilize our search term reports from Amazon along with the SQP report, which is called the Search Query Performance Report that is available in your brand analytics under your Sales Central dashboard. Once we download both these reports, we would upload them to a tool that is absolutely free to use. This tool was basically built according to my own SOPs and all the rules that we use within our agency. Hi, my name is Ukpa and I am the founder of Selexio. We manage brands on Amazon ranging from $50,000 and above. And this video will show you how to calculate your system report performance from your existing reports on Amazon. Okay, so you can see on my screen that this is the tool that I was talking about, and I'll send you the link in the description for this. All you have to do is just add your brand name. For example, I am going to add my brand name here, and you can also add a competitor name if you want. For now, I'm just gonna write a competitor here. But for example, if your competitor name is Nike, you can add that in here. If your target ACOS, for example, is 20%, you can add 20 in here. You can add 30, 40, however you want. You can now add your break-even margins. These are optional, right? So remember, all of these things are optional. You don't have to add them, but they would only improve your results, right? And it takes literally a second to add them. For example, if I know my break-even margin is 30%, I would add 30 in here. Now, how do you even calculate 30%? How do you calculate the break-even margin? If you come across the formula of break-even margin, it is selling price on your Amazon listing minus all of your costs divided by selling price and times 100. So just think of it as your margins divided by selling price, right? And for your cost, it has to include the product costs. It has to include the shipping to Amazon. It has to include any custom duties, Amazon FBA and referral fees. It has to include the storage fee and the PPC cost as well. It can include any other cost like inspection and pets as well. For example, we have a selling price of $25. All of the other costs included are, 7, 1, 3, 4, and so on. If we add all of our costs, they come down to 16.5. Our selling price, let's say, is $25. And if you subtract your cost from the selling price, our margin now is $8.5. You can divide 8.5 by 25 and you'll get your break-even margin, right? Once you have it, just place it in here. You can now upload the search term report, which is the first report that we're going to upload on the tool. Now, for those of you who don't know how to get your search term reports, I'm going to show you from Amazon. This is our Amazon Search Central, and you're going to go to the ads tab on the left side and click on Campaign Manager, and this would open up something like this. Now, the first thing you have to do is go to measurement and reporting, and from here, click on Sponsored Ads Report. Once you click on Sponsored Ads Report, this tab will open up. Simply have to click on Create a Report. Once you do that, it will show sponsored products. You will keep this as sponsored products. You will keep this as search term. You can select however many countries you want. For example, for this, we're only going for the US. And you can leave everything else. For example, time unit, keep it as summary. And report period, you could have last 30 days. You could also pick last 7 days if you want, or any other time range. But for accuracy and more data, I'll keep it at last 30 days, right? Once you save this, sorry, I'm just going to change the spot to last 30 days. And you can name your report however you want. For example, I'll leave it as it is, and the request time is now. Once done, you can simply run the report, and this will then be able to download from the Amazon Campaign Manager. It will show up like this. It will take some time, but it would be downloadable after a while. And once you click here, you can download this report, right? Once you have the report, go back to the tool, upload the system report here. For example, I have the report downloaded and it's called the sponsored product system report. I'm going to drag this simply and upload it in here. Once it's uploaded, you can see it shows that the uploading is complete. The second report here is the search query performance report, which is also called the SQP report. Now, this one is absolutely optional. You can upload it, but I would advise you to upload this because it would really improve the data. And to get this report, you would go to brands and click on brand analytics. Once you're in brand analytics, go to search analytics and click on search query performance. Once you do that, this tab will open up in front of you. Once done, search your brand name, which would be obviously if you have one brand name that would show up in here. I prefer reporting range as quarterly because that gives you more accurate data, and that would give you a long time range as compared to just going with weekly or monthly data. You can select your year, which would be 2026, and your quarter. Once done, simply apply the filter and you can download from here. You can select generate download. It will ask you if you want a simple view or a comprehensive view. I prefer just a simple view, so I'm just going to go ahead with that and request the report. Now, to access your report, you would go to Download Manager, and this will show you all the reports that you want to download from this SQP. You can see our report is now in progress. Once downloaded, you can upload the report to the tool. For example, I have the report downloaded. This is the search query performance report. I'm going to drag this as we did for the search term report. And you can see under a literally 1 second, we have the executive summary. It would show you your total spend over the range of the data that we gave and the wasted spend. It would show you your ROAS. It would show you the average ACOS if there are any terms that are bleeding in here. And it would also show any high ACOS terms. For example, 154 terms had high ACOS and 284 were the terms that we can scale over time. You can also see that it shows us the top 3 biggest bleeds, which is the top 3 biggest search terms that we need to fix. For example, this search term spent about $80 and it had 26 clicks and 0 orders. The second search term had a very similar result, 0 orders, right? And then it would also show you some scale opportunities. For example, the first search term had 13 orders. The ACOS was only 1.54% and it generated sales. So that means you need to increase your bid or maybe give it more ads budget so it can scale accordingly. In here, you can see how we classify all these keywords. For example, the rules that we use in the backend for this tool. So any of the bleeding terms that are classified as bleeding would have clicks more than 20. It would have a spend of more than $20 and it would have 0 orders, right? These terms are called beating terms. High ACOS terms are the terms that would have orders bigger than 1 and ACOS that is greater than 50. So I like to call them high ACOS because anything above 50 is something that you need to adjust within your ads. Scale opportunities, any orders that are more than 10, ACOS less than 30, spend more than 10. All of these we need to scale in our ads. Right, keyword intent is something that we discussed on top. For example, branded keywords are your brand name keywords. For example, if your brand name is Nike, it would show you all those keywords as branded. Competitor are your rivals, and generic is anything else. SQP is something that we just uploaded, the search query performance report. You can see that it shows we matched 842 queries from the report, and the market conversion rate is 1.87. It doesn't show any band conversion rate, but if in your case it shows, for example, 1%, that means you're below the market conversion rate, right? And the search queries that are beating market is 61.2%. This is important. You want to know which terms are beating the market, and you want to scale these terms on your campaign manager. Let's dive into our first section. So we have bleeding terms, and these are the terms that are bleeding. For example, they had clicks above 20, they had spent above $20, and they had 0 sales. So we have 4 of these keywords that we now know we need to either negate or we need to pause our ads on these keywords. You can simply tell your campaign or your ads manager, hey, we want to pause these 4 terms. Can we do it? And he'll go ahead and make the changes. Higher cost terms are the terms that had maybe some sales, but they had a very high spend, so they're not converted properly. You might want to adjust your bids in here. You don't want to negate these keywords because they had sales and orders at some point. So for example, you could see the action on the first keyword. It says lower your bid or optimize your listing. Either way, it would work, right? If you can do both, that would be amazing. For example, the first term, which is definitely Italian, we can see this system had 3 orders and $95 worth of sales, but we also spent $332. Now, you don't want to spend $300 just to get $95 worth of sales. That means the ACOS was 347%. And it's also telling you if you need to hit the ACOS target of 20%, you need to lower down your bid to $0.17. So what you can do instead of negating this keyword is just adjust the bid to $0.17, and then you would have the target ACOS of 20%. You can do this across all the keywords. You can also see one of the keyword here is branded keyword. That means when we edit our brand name on top, it then classified all the keywords into branded and generic keywords, right? And so we now have a branded keyword and all the other ones are generic, right? Let's see, we have a lot. So we have a lot of these terms that are high ACOS. You can also see the last section that we have is scale opportunities. So these are the opportunities where you can increase your bid or you can add to an exact match campaign. You can do both of these things. For example, if you want to increase your bid, just see if that works well within the next 2 weeks, or you can also have a separate exact match campaign and put all the winning search terms into multiple exact campaigns and they might start performing well. For example, the first search, the women's slipper Aqua, had 78 clicks, $31 spent only, and we have $208 worth of sales with only 1.54% ACOS. This is a term that we need to scale, right? We have a lot of these, and you don't need to copy your data from here. The good thing is this tool allows you to download all of this into Excel. And let me show you how this works exactly once we have the data in Excel. So now you can see we have all the data in our Excel sheet and it shows us all the search terms. And these are the scale opportunities that we saw in our tool. You can simply send this to your ad manager and ask him to scale all these keywords. You can do the same with high ACOS terms. You can see all the terms here are high ACOS, and you can do the same with bleeding terms. Now there is a section called SQP comparison. It hasn't picked it up here, but if you go back to the tool, you could see that there is a section that allows you to download the SQP results. So if we click on download, you can see we have the SQP results here, and it simply is comparing your market conversion against your ASIN conversion or your brand conversion. So we also have PPC conversion here, which you can use to your advantage. So we have brand conversion and we have market conversion. These are the three tabs that you need to look at. And it would show you, for example, if so any terms that have better conversion as compared to market, you want to scale those keywords, right? And in this case, we don't exactly have any keywords. In this plan, we don't have any keywords that are performing better than the market. You can see all of these have 0% conversion. But if there are any keywords in your case, you would want to add them and you would want to scale them on your ads as well. You could do the same. You could increase their bids. If you don't have those keywords already in your campaign, add them and maybe make an exact match campaign. Name it like SQP performing keywords and start running ads on those keywords. This was the complete guide on how you can optimize your Amazon system and SQP comparison reports in less than literally 5 minutes. Now, since you just only need 2 reports here and this tool is literally faster than Claude and ChatGPT, all you have to do is just feed the reports and download the Excel report, go through it once, and see if the results are worth sending to your ad manager. In our agency, what we do is we send the report to our ad managers every 2 weeks. In fact, they just do this themselves. They can just upload the reports and get these results back. And they would go and make those changes within the ad manager. And then they would report back that, hey, we made these changes. And for example, within the next 2 weeks, you would see your ACOS would go down, your TACOS would go down, and your margins would improve a lot on your Amazon ads. If you think this video was helpful, leave a like and comment, and I'll create more videos on how you can optimize your Amazon PPC using easy tools that you can get access to for absolutely free. Thank you.